Hey guys, what's up? DR Modding here, and I wanted to do a little tutorial video for you. Gotten a couple questions from people. Actually, I get these questions quite often, and I just put two of the messages up here on the screen to give you a little idea of what we'll be doing in this video today. So, Todd says he's editing an FS17 map for his personal use and would like to know how to add or remove starting equipment plus their start location on the map. Thank you for your time. Martin is asking a similar question. I like it that there are different farms to play. How can I change the spawn point to another farm? Perhaps you can make a YouTube tutorial on this. So Martin and Todd, thank you guys for your questions, and I'm going to try to help you guys figure this out and also shoot the videos so that other people can figure it out, because I do get these questions quite often. So before we do anything, let's go ahead and jump in the editor here. So this is obviously UMRV version 2.1. If you don't know how to open this in Giants, you're going to want to go to some of the earlier videos, but basically you're going to get this open in Giants Editor, and you could use any map to do this, but what I'm looking for the start spawn location is actually called career start point. And this may be in different areas. If you're using a different map, it may not be specifically in an LOC. You might not even have an LOC in your map. The career start point may just be up here on its own, or it could be in a different transform group, but this is the one that you're looking for. Load places is also what you're looking for the vehicles and things like that, and we'll talk about that after we get the career start point done, okay? So, as soon as I've found this career start point, you're going to notice that the gizmo pops up, and it is actually right here on the front deck of this house. Now, for any of you that have played UMRV version 2.1, you know that when you start the game, you start on this porch and you start facing the front here. So what that tells me is that the gizmo, the blue line here, is actually facing forward. Now, if I wanted to move this, let's say I really like the farm with the brown buildings and the pigs, and I would rather start there in my own personal game than start on this farm. It's a pretty easy and simple thing to do. I'm going to make sure that career start point is highlighted, and then without unhighlighting it, as long as I know that it's selected, let's zoom over here to the other farm, and let's say that I want to start my guy back here by the TV. Okay? Again, making sure that this is highlighted, I'm going to click Control B, and then wherever I click the mouse, you're going to see that gizmo pop up. Takes a little while to load, and there you go. So now remember, on the porch, the blue arrow pointed forward. So this is going to be really close. He's basically going to be looking at this vacuum cleaner. So I can either move him back using the controls, or I can again just hit Control B. Let me get through here a little bit. I can hit Control B and place it wherever I want to place it. Take a little while to load again. And there you go. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to move him back over here. I just clicked Control B and click the mouse over here. And then I'm actually going to spin the gizmo around. And now see, I'm glad that happened, because I want to show you this. Sometimes when you hit Control B, if there's something invisible here, like a light or something that it can collide with, you'll notice that the gizmo is actually up in the air. Now, on a start career point, this wouldn't be too big of a deal, because as soon as you load the game, he's going to start here and then he'll fall down to the ground. So you probably won't even notice it. But on some things, you need to be careful that you're checking the gizmo, and as you can see, it's up in the sky. You don't want that. So we're going to back up a little ways. I'm going to hit Control B again, click it on the ground, and again, it's going to be floating because there's some lights in here that are messing with it. So let's get down here on the ground lower, and let's see if we can get it to click down on the ground. And there you go, it's down on the ground. So sometimes there might be an invisible trigger here, and actually I can tell you exactly what it is. It's the trigger for this box. If I click the entire toolbox, you're going to notice there'll be a trigger box here. It's kind of hard to see, but there's a line here and a line here. That's actually a trigger so that you can pull a tractor or truck into this area and fix it, and you can kind of see it there. So when I'm clicking Control B and clicking somewhere in this box, it's actually colliding and sticking it up on top of the box. So the easy, simple solution to that is just zoom through to where you're inside the trigger, and now you're no longer going to collide with it, and then I can click on the ground. So let's go back and find our career start point. Just going to highlight it, and we want to make sure that it's on the ground, which it is. But remember, the blue is facing forward, so we don't want to be coming in game staring at a shelf full of boxes. So let's go ahead and spin this so that we're now facing our garage a little bit. Okay? So now when you start the game, your character is going to spawn in the shop area, and he's going to be facing this door. The way we can test this is by saving it. And now anytime, I'll go ahead and cover this while we're here. I haven't really covered this in a video, but anytime that you're saving something on your map and you want to test it, it is always recommended to re-zip your map and place it in your mods folder. Some people, they'll just drag the actual folder over without zipping it up. Now it will work if you do that. You'll be able to load it up in game and everything will work. However, when you zip it up and send it out to someone, it may not work. And that's just because when you're moving when you're moving an open folder from one location to the other, files can be corrupted, names can be changed, file paths can be too long, things like that, and you'll actually mess up your map. When you zip up your map, you're basically locking it. So everything in it cannot be changed, it can't be moved, it can't be renamed, and you're preventing it from having any of those errors later on. So what we're going to do, I'll go ahead and blow this up. We want to make sure that we're all the way back to the main folder. So we're in UMRV beta version 2. I'm going to highlight everything, right click, and depending on what system you use, you might have 7-zip, but whatever system you use, you can go ahead and zip it up. So on the system that I have, I'm going to click add to archive, and it's going to ask, it's going to come in as a RAR just on the standard setting. So I want to zip this. I'm going to click zip. Okay. And again, this is after I've saved my progress out here on the i3D. So we'll give it a quick second to unzip, and while we're waiting, I'll actually open up my mods folder, because we're going to want to place the map into the mods folder. And we're almost done here. We're going to zip, zip, zip. And we'll go ahead and test this in game real quick. And then while we're in game, I'm going to show you guys how to get your default vehicle set up. Alright, so that's zipped up. We are going to bring this over to our mods folder. It's going to ask to overwrite because it's the same name. That's fine. If you don't have a saved copy of your map in the mods folder, it's always good to have a backup. So instead of dragging it over and replacing, you can always drag this into a different folder before you drag the new one. That way you'll have a backup that you can revert to just in case something happens. So let's go ahead and we're going to launch the game here. Now I don't have any mods installed currently other than the map and the bin pack, and I did that for a reason. So I'm going to actually go ahead and delete my game 3. But now when you're doing default vehicles, you want to make sure that you remember what save game you're using. So for the sake of this, you could use save game 1, you could use any of them, but just remember for the sake of this video I'm using save game 3, okay? So we're going to continue. We're going to go ahead and load up the map. And again, all I have is my placeable bin pack and the map file in here currently. Now you can do this with mods. What I'm about to show you, it's not going to matter, but if you're going to be releasing this map to anybody, it's always best to have the standard just in-game tractors and things to set up as your default vehicles, because when you send this out, if your default vehicles are a mod, then and that person doesn't have that mod, then their default vehicles obviously aren't going to show up. So you always want to use the default vehicles unless everybody has the mod. So as you can see, I loaded up in game. I am in the building in the shop area. I'm going to turn off that music. And I was facing the door. So we successfully moved that. So now let's go ahead and answer the second question that came in on how do you set up your default vehicles and how do you get to pick where they spawn, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to open up our garage while we're in game. And if you're on UMRV, we'll go ahead and get rid of this. If you're on UMRV, you're actually going to start with a bunch of these bins already set up, and that's because we've already pre-installed them for you in locations. But you can delete these and change them. So let's say, for instance, I don't like the location where these bins are, and actually I'll just get out of there to show you. Like these bins right here, these are actually placeable bins that we've already positioned for you, and that's why when you go to your garage, they're already here. So let's go ahead and find these. So the SU 400K, let's just say I want to sell this and move it somewhere else, and this will be another SU. Let me go back to my garage here. That's gonna still it's not gonna sell because that was a different one. There we go. It's the SU 300K. Alright, so now they both disappeared here, right? So I'm going to show you how to do this. We're going to leave the rest of the bins in place for now, because it won't matter. Alright, so now let's say I want to set up a vehicle in this garage here. So I'm just choosing a vehicle here just to kind of give you guys an idea. So let's say I want this Magnum CVX to be in this garage when we start the game. And now you can change the settings on it, and it'll come in exactly how you set it. So let's say I want the crawler tracks, and I want the upgraded engine. I'm going to go ahead and buy it, and I don't have enough money, so that's fine. And honestly, you can use the money mod and things like that when you're doing this, but I'm just going to go ahead and borrow some money so I can buy this. Okay, so let's go back here. Let's buy our tractor. Wow, that's still not going to be enough. Well, we can actually, you know what, let's use a cheaper tractor because I did want to show you guys something else too. So let's get this T5. We'll go ahead and buy that. And let's buy a tipper trailer, just so that we have more than one thing, okay? Now we're going to go to our store, so I'm going to tab over to the tractor. Oops. Okay, now I got to drive this thing all the way up to the farm so we can get it in place, and I will show you guys how to get the location set up right. Wow, this thing's going crazy on me right now. I messed with some of the graphics settings here the other day when we're playing on the server, just to see how we could make it perform better. And the funny thing is, when I turn my settings lower, which right now they're actually a little lower than they normally are, the computer starts acting all crazy on me, or at least the game does. So on my computer, it's actually better to have them set on the graphics set on higher settings than lower. Otherwise you get this weird shake. So bear with me on the lag, but we'll get this thing driven up to our farm, and we'll park it how we want it. So while we're driving it up there, guys, I just wanted to again say thank you to everybody for all the support and the views and the subscribers. You know, if there's anything that you guys want to know how to do, go ahead and shoot me a message on Facebook or on YouTube, and I will do my best to try to accommodate you and get your questions answered. I don't know everything there is to know about map making yet. I'm still learning myself, but I am definitely willing to pass on any of the information that I do learn with you guys. So by all means, if you have any comments or questions, shoot them my way and I'll try to help you out. I should have picked a faster track because it's going to take a little while. Now, if you're using the teleport mod or money cheat or anything like that when you're setting these vehicles up, that's perfectly fine. The game, or the process that we're going to do here in a minute when I get this thing parked, it doesn't care what mods you have installed. It just cares where the actual tractors are sitting. So, you know, if you wanted to do this easier, instead of having to drive all of your equipment to where you want it, you could use the teleport mod, and you could just teleport this right to your farm, and then, you know, kind of the final touches or the final movements, you'd have to get in and kind of move it around the way you want it. But it would save you a lot of time, especially if you're trying to set up an entire map full of default vehicles. If you had to drive them like we're doing right now, obviously it's going to take quite a bit of time if you're doing the entire map. So we're almost there. Just gotta take a left up here and park it. And also, if you're doing this for yourself and you're not planning on sharing it, and you know, let's say you have some tractors that are mods that you like and you prefer to use rather than these stock game tractors, you can do this same process that I'm showing you right now. You can do it with any mod. You just have to remember that, you know, later on when you're using the map, you know, 6 months from now, if you got rid of some of those mods that you had set up on this default vehicle setup, then you're gonna obviously you're gonna have some missing mods later in game when you go to start the game. So if you're gonna use mods when you're doing this, you have to make sure that the mods are actually in your mod folder for them to work. And that's why I'm not recommending that you use anything but stock tractors, the game tractors, if you're setting this up, you know, to be released. Like if you're wanting this map to go out to people and you don't know what mods they have in their mod folder, then that's why we're saying you need to use the stock stuff, because everybody that has the game is going to have the stock tractors by default. Alrighty, we're almost there. When we get there, what we're going to do is we're going to park this tractor in a specific position and place, and then we're going to show you how it works. Alrighty, so this is the barn that we are starting in. Now I'm going to jump out and we'll get these doors open so we can park this thing inside. Alrighty, so I'm going to leave my tipper here. And then I'm going to move my tractor up here, right up against the edge of the garage. And, you know, it doesn't matter where you park these. You can park them anywhere you want. But just for the sake of this video, I want to show you that it's working. So I can go ahead and close this now. Okay, so now with the changes that I'm about to show you, what's going to happen is we're going to spawn in here, because we've set up our spawn point now, facing this garage, and that tractor and this tipper are going to be now in our garage when we start the game. So let me show you how to do this. So I'm going to Alt-Tab out of the game, and I'm actually going to go back to my folders here that I have open. Now, what we're going to want to do is open up our map folder, which we already have open, so UMRV beta version 2.1. And right in the main map folder, right under UMRV beta version 2.1, you're going to see default vehicles XML. Now, this will be named the same thing regardless of what map you're on, and it should be in this main map folder for it to work correctly. So any map that you're doing this on is going to have this file. So default vehicles XML. I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to open it with Notepad++. Now you could edit this in Notepad as well, but I would definitely recommend Notepad++ if you're going to be doing any work like this. Sorry about that. I had a phone call I had to ignore there for a second. Okay, so definitely recommend Notepad++. And this is, again, default vehicles XML that we opened up. Anything under this right here, career vehicles, everything under that, I'm going to scroll down. And here's your other career vehicles. Anything between those two career vehicles are all of your default vehicles. So I'm just going to kind of highlight this and show you. Basically everything in between are the vehicles that will load up, and also the items that will load up in the game when you start. Okay, so now if I wanted to do a completely fresh install, and I wanted to make all of the, I wanted to, you know, completely change the default vehicles that load up in the map, what I would do is highlight all of this and delete it. Now remember I told you that the bin pack automatically has some preloaded bins set up. If you wanted to save those bin locations, what you would want to do is you want to come down, scroll down until you get to items. So here's my first item that I'm finding, and it's the placeable bin pack. It's going to be bin 8B, okay, which I know because I'm the one that made these packs. I know that this is a bin pack, or this is one of the bins, this is a bin, this is a bin, and so on all the way down. These are all bins. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete everything in the middle of this, because I want to do a complete new start. I don't want to have any hay bins, or sorry, any grain bins, and I don't want to have any vehicles except for my tractor and my tipper that I just put in the game, right? So I'm going to start right below career vehicles, and I'm just going to start highlighting everything. And I'm just scrolling down with my mouse button, click down, and then I'm going to come all the way down here above career vehicles, but I don't want to delete career vehicles, okay? I'm going to go ahead and delete that, and what you should see in your XML now is career vehicles here, and then career vehicles here. Anything that we type in between here is going to be our default vehicles. Okay, so where do we find this information? How do we get it? We're going to go to our save game folder, which is actually going to be in your documents, my games, Farming Simulator 2017. And remember, we were using, oh, I got to do this first. That would make sense. You want to save the game. Sorry about that, guys. So I'm going to save the game. That's going to create a folder now. I'm going to come out. So now we have a save game 3 folder. I want to open it up, and again, this is in your documents, my games, Farming Simulator 2017, save game 3. And I'm going to go down here to vehicles, and again, I'm going to right click, edit with Notepad++. Now, as you can see, you're basically looking at the same thing. See how it says career vehicles? And this one says career vehicles. So, here's my New Holland T5 tractor, and this will be my tipper. Now, because we saved the game with all those placeable bins in, you are actually going to see the placeable bins. But let's say I just want to have just my vehicles. So I'm highlighting the New Holland T5 tractor, and this is my tipper. And the reason I know that is because here's a vehicle and here's a vehicle. There's only two of them. And the only two vehicles I had on my map were the T5 and the tipper. These ones are called items. They're not called vehicles. So I know that these are not vehicles, they're going to be something else. And in this case, they are the placeable bin packs. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to right click and copy just the two vehicles. I'm going to come back to my default vehicle XML. I want to make sure that that cursor, see how like sometimes if you click in here the cursor will be over here? I want to make sure that that's all the way over to the left. I'm going to right click, paste, and now I have my T5 tractor and my tipper. And I don't have any items below this, so that means I'm not going to have any grain bins, which obviously I don't recommend if you're going to play the game, because you're not going to have any silos to put any of your grain in. But just for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just showing you how to do the vehicles. So now we're going to click save, and we can go ahead and X out of this. This one is the save game. We don't need to save it. We can just get rid of it. So now what we have, I'm going to go back to my map folder. So what we have done is we have edited this default vehicles file, XML file, and it is now different. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of the game. So we'll go ahead and quit out of that. Okay. We're back in our UMRV beta version 2.1. We're in the main folder. I'm going to highlight all of the contents of that folder. I'm going to right click. I'm going to add it to an archive because I want to zip this back up. And again, with the system or the program I use, you have to actually click zip, but you know that depends on what you're using. If you're using 7-zip, WinRAR, all those different things, there's many of them out there that are free. So I'm going to hit OK. We're going to wait a little while this zips up. It's now creating a new UMRV beta version 2.1. And as soon as this is done, we're going to drag it back into our mods folder. We're going to go in game and we're going to make sure that our vehicles worked where we just put them. This just takes a couple minutes. We'll get there. Alright, so now I can drag this one back into my mods folder. It's going to ask me to overwrite, which is fine. And now we'll go back in game. And we will try this out. Okay, I'm going to choose a new save game just to show you that it worked. Remember, we were using save game 3. I'm going to try this on save game 2. That way there hasn't been any saved information. This should load up just how we set it up. And as you can see, my bin pack and my map are still the only two mods in here. So if everything worked, which I know it did, but just so you guys remember, we moved our starting spawn point into the garage facing the garage door. And we added a T5 New Holland tractor and that tipper in the garage with us where we're going to start. So if everything worked correctly, we're going to have a tractor and a tipper, and we're going to be facing the garage when we come into the game. So let's see if it worked. And there you go. So we spawned in the garage, and here's our T5 tractor, and here's our tipper. And just to also show you that it worked, let's go outside, and we're not going to have any bins. So as you can see, our bins are gone. And if I actually drove around the map, you would see that all the bins are now gone because we didn't save any of them in. Now, let's say I do want to put bins in my game, but I want them in a different location than the way that they were installed. It's simple. You would have to just do the same thing you do with vehicles. I'm going to come in here to get my placeables. I'm going to pick the bin that I want. So let's say 400K, and actually I don't have enough money. That's going to be 60,000. So let me go ahead and give myself some money here. And that's why it's so key when you guys are doing editing and stuff on maps to get a good money mod, like a money cheat mod where it gives you a bunch of money, because when you're doing stuff like this, obviously you need money to go around and buy these things. Okay, so we're gonna go with the 400K Sue. I'm just gonna get it where I want it, and let's just go ahead and put 2 of them in. Okay, same simple process. I'm gonna place the placeables just as if I would, I drove these vehicles and got them where I wanted. This is the same concept. I'm gonna put the placeables where I want them. I'm gonna save my game, make sure that it's saved, and remember we're on save game 2 now. I'm gonna tab out. We're gonna go back to the save game folder. I want to go back out to save game 2. I want to open up my vehicles XML in Notepad++, and now you're going to see that there's only going to be those 2 bins and my T5 and my tipper. So here's our 2 vehicles, T5 and the tipper, and here where it says item, here's my 2 bins. Okay, item to item. So here's my 2 bins. So now if I wanted to add these bins in, I would select just the bins. Or let's say we did this the very first time we put the bins in the tractor and the tipper in. I could highlight all of them, but I already know that these 2 are in my default vehicle XML in the map. So all I want to do is add my 2 bins. I'm going to go ahead and copy this. I'm going to go back to my map folder where it says default vehicles XML. We're going to open that up, and as long as I'm above this career vehicles, so I want to go ahead and just enter and give us a new line here. I'm going to paste those bins in, and again I'm checking to make sure it's above this. It has to be in between this bottom one and this top one here. Okay, so now I have my T5 tractor, my farm tech, and my 2 bins. So we're going to go ahead and save this. We can just X out of the one from the save game. And we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to zip this back up. Oh, no, sorry. I clicked the wrong one. Add to archive. I'm going to click zip. Okay. We're going to let this zip up. Now while we're doing that, let's go ahead and get out of the game because we don't need to be in here anymore. So we're going to quit the game. And we're going to try this one more time just to show you that the bins are working, and hopefully you guys are getting the hang of it and everything's making sense to you. But you basically can just do this over and over and over again with as many vehicles as you want and as many bins as you want, or any other placeable objects, and just make sure you follow the same steps and you copy things out of your save game default vehicle or the vehicle XML and bring them to your map default vehicle XML, and as long as they're in between the top and bottom career vehicles, you'll be fine. Alright, so we're almost zipped up here. Okay, so I'm going to drag this new one that we just made over to our mods. It's going to ask to overwrite. Yes. Alright, let's try this out one more time and make sure our bins showed up where we wanted them. Now remember, last time we loaded up, we didn't have any bins there at all. We had to bring them in ourselves. So let's make sure that they're working. So we're going to go back to career. Now just for the sake of this, I'm going to go ahead and delete these because all I used them for was to get the vehicles in place. And let's go ahead and start a new save game on save game 3 here just to show you that it worked. I'm going to go to my map. And we're going to load one more time and show you that the bins are there. It's really a pretty simple concept. I mean, once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy to do. The honestly, the most tedious thing for me is just getting all the vehicles where you want them. So that's why I recommended the teleport mod. You can get the vehicles to the farm a lot quicker. You don't have to actually drive everything up there and set them up how you want it, and then follow the same steps. So again, we're going to start. We're going to have our character spawned into the garage facing, or in the shed facing the garage door. There's going to be a T5 tractor, the tipper, and now we'll have 2 bins out front. So there's our T5 tractor, there's our tipper, we're facing the garage, and here's our 2 bins that we just placed. So now anytime someone starts this game, as long as they have the placeable bin pack in the mod folder, and as long as they have whatever tractors you used and equipment you used to place in the game, they're going to show the same thing. Now, what happens if someone doesn't have some of this stuff, like the bin pack? Let's say someone doesn't have the bin pack in their mods folder, and they load up your save or your map. The only thing that's going to happen is these bins just won't show up. They're going to disappear because they don't have the proper mod installed. There might be an error in their log saying that it couldn't find the placeable bin pack, but they're still going to be able to load up and play the game. They just won't have these bins. Or if you used like a modded John Deere tractor instead of this New Holland, if they don't have that mod, it's just not going to show up in game. But again, we always recommend that you use default equipment. That way everybody has it. And if you use like a placeable, make sure that you pass the placeable to that same person so they have it. So hopefully that helped you guys understand how to change the spawn points. Oh, one more thing I do want to do just to show you real quick. I'm not going to actually go in game and show you, but I'll just tab out here, because someone did ask this as well. We'll go back to our Giants editor that we have open. So I'm back now in the Giants editor for the map. The other question that I get a lot of times is, how do you change the spawn location for the vehicles when you reset them? Remember, the career start point is our character where he spawns in game. Also in your map file, or in your map scenograph, you're going to see a spot that says load places. Now these load places are the reset points for vehicles when you reset them. I'm actually going to open this up and expand it, and you're going to notice load place 1 is right here. This is the one that I care about. I don't want to move load places. I want to leave that where it's at, because it's going to be set at 0, 0, 0 over here on the XYZ, which is the perfect center of the map. I want to make sure I leave that unchanged. But I'm going to come down here to load places 1, and let's go find it on the map. So right now load place 1 is right here in this grassy area. So when I reset my vehicle, let's say I flip my tractor over in a ditch and I click the reset button in game, it's going to load me up right in this grass field. Now the way that the game decides where to load it, because if you notice, like if you reset more than one vehicle, they'll actually be parked in a row. The way that the game decides where to put that row, if I click and expand this load place 1, this is the start of load place 1, and then this is the load place 1 end, and you're going to notice it's going to be over here somewhere. So I'm going to click on that, and oops, it went the other way, sorry. So there's your end point, and then your start point, when I click on this, it's going to be over in this area. And there's my start point. So everything between here and this end point is going to be the line of vehicles that you reset. So what I want to do, if I want to move this, let's say I don't like it here and I want to move it somewhere, I'm going to make sure that the top load place 1 is selected. Again, I don't want to move load places. I want to move the load place 1. So let's say I use this pig farm a lot and I want to just reset my vehicles right here so I don't have to drive them anywhere. I'm going to put them somewhere where they're going to spawn in, but they're not going to be a problem. So I don't want to put them like out here on the road, because we've got these big major ditches, and if I do this, let's say I put it on the road and there's a big long trailer, I may come in game and reset a trailer and it may be hanging out over this ditch, and it may be hard for me to get to. So I want to make sure that I put it in an area that I've got plenty of room. So what I'm going to do, I like this little flat grassy area in here. I'm going to move it over here, okay? So I'm going to make sure load place 1 is selected. Again, I'm going to hit Control B, and wherever I click the mouse, it's going to pop it down right on the train. Takes a little while to load. And as you can see, now I have load place 1. Now, I need to make sure that I get my line straight. Right now I can tell you, since the blue arrow is facing this way, that's the front. My line is actually moving this way, and I don't want to load vehicles, or I don't want to reset vehicles on top of my Quonset hut here. So I need to make sure that I rotate this to get it into a straight line. Now, as long as load place 1 at the top transform group, the parent item, is selected, when I spin this, that end piece is over here, it's going to spin around this way as I move this way. If for whatever reason you're a visual person and you need to see this, go ahead and select the end, and you're going to see that it's over here, just to kind of show you. So I'm going to go back to load place 1. I'm going to rotate this over to where I think it's, you know, pretty much straight, and then I can click on end again and just make sure that it moved. I know it's going to, but it'll actually show me now, okay, it's way over here. Now, as you can see, it's going to be floating up in the air, and that's because this has a little bit of a hill here. It's not going to necessarily affect you. If you reset a vehicle, it's going to still plop down here, and it'll just fall until it hits the ground, so it will be down here. But if you want to, you can actually shrink this so that maybe we move it over here so that the reset point is only wide enough to replace vehicles here. But this will limit how many vehicles you can reset. So the smaller you make the space, the smaller an area it's going to have to load in vehicles, and eventually it'll get to a point where it can't load anymore. But for the sake of this tutorial, we'll go ahead and move it over so it's closer. I'm going to click back on load place 1. It's going to be over here. So now my reset point is from here to over here. And if I want to move this back a little bit, you know, just kind of get it right in the perfect area, I'm going to move this. And when I did that, it also moved this end piece because it's attached. It's a child of this one. So whenever we move this one, it moves this one as well. So now we've got our reset point in this area here. And every time I hit reset in the game, my farm equipment's going to reset in slots right here in this grass field. So I'm not going to show you guys this in game. The video is already kind of long enough, but again, in order to check this, I'm going to go ahead and click File, Save. Actually, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's go ahead and do it for you guys just to show you it's working. So we're going to save it up. I got to wait for my map to save here. It'll take a little while. Okay, we're all saved now. I'm going to come back out here to my main map folder, and we're going to do this one more time. We're going to select everything, all the contents inside this folder. I'm going to right click, add to archive, click on zip. We're going to make a new map zip. Give this a couple minutes to zip up. We're going to drag it back over to our mods folder, and we will try resetting the vehicle to show you guys that it's working. I'm going to go ahead and let this load. I'll give this, or this is a perfect opportunity, I guess, to ask you guys, what else do you want to see? I'm going to keep doing my series on map editing and things like that. But, you know, if you guys have anything that you're confused on, any questions you have, please send me a message. Give me some ideas for videos to do here in the future. Alright, almost there. We're done, so we're going to drag this over to our mods folder. Going to ask to overwrite again. I'm going to go ahead and click yes. Oh, sorry, we can't do it while we're in game. So let's go ahead and quit the game. And sorry for the length of these videos, guys, but I don't really want to edit the videos. I want to show you guys how it's done in real time. So go ahead and remember, drag it over, click yes when it asks to overwrite. And again, if you had wanted to save that as a backup, you can always drag it to desktop or drag it to another folder before you drag this new one in. So let's go ahead and start the game back up. But yeah, I really like shooting my videos for you guys, my tutorials in real time, so you guys actually see the entire process. You can see how long it takes, things like that. I don't like editing it, confusing people. Okay, so now we can choose either one, but let's go ahead and just start a new save game. We'll load this up. Alright, so we're going to be in the garage. We've still got our tipper. We've got our T5 over here. Let's go ahead and open this up. And our new reset point is now here in this field. So let's go get this tractor stuck somewhere. Alright, we've gotten our tractor stuck in a ditch and we can't get it out, and I want to reset it back to my farm, which is going to be in this grass area that we just set up. I'm going to hit the escape button. Here's my T5, click reset, yes, and now it's over here in our reset point. Now if I did this with multiple vehicles, actually I'll go ahead and show you the tipper. Oops, so I'm going to hit escape, go to my tipper, we're going to reset that as well. Now my tipper's out here, and this is going to continue in a line this way of vehicles until it hits that point that we had over here where it's going to stop, and then it's going to tell you that the reset point is full and you have no more room. So hopefully that helped you guys. We went over the character spawn-in location and how to move it. We went over how to get your default vehicles set up in the map, and also how to set your reset point in the map for vehicles when they reset. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to message me on Facebook at the UMRV Facebook page. The link will be below the video. Please, if you haven't yet, subscribe to the video or to the channel on YouTube. You guys will get to see more videos like this, and also progress on the new maps that we're making. And as always, there's a donation button below. If you guys are feeling generous, I do this on my own time, so every little bit helps, and it helps us get some more models and things for the map that we're going to pass on and share with you guys in public releases. So please feel free to donate on that donate button. Alright guys, until the next video, I will catch you later.